For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
So, blah, 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 calories, blah, 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 donuts, blah, blah, blah. Wait, Russ, do you smell something?
Wait, is that campfire? Is it s'mores?
Smoke. I smell like smoke.
Baby moose?
Oh, baby moose. Oh, like amniotic moose.
Yeah, I think so.
Teras! It's
a Canadian.
It's got to be a Canadian.
How's it going, eh?
How you doing, eh? So, Teras,
way to feed into a stereotype.
you walked right into it. Hey, a moose and a Canadian walk into a bar. So, Teras, how are you doing here, Dunks, today? You seem like you just got back from camping. How was the wilderness?
I have, eh? I was out and about camping. It was very good. As we talked about, or as we are now talking about, I did my friend came across a moose and hit her just born calf.
Yeah.
It was a scary situation for us all. I do indeed smell like campfire and sweat, though. Yes.
So now, as we Americans down here think of Canada, when you say you go camping, I'm envisioning like you're in the Yukon where population density is measured in miles per people. So, like, were you out there in the middle of nowhere, Canada, or kind of like a more closer to home sort of situation?
Well, my house is kind of in the middle of nowhere in a lot of ways. We have a small town. It's 10,000 people. It's about 15 minutes away from me. I'm surrounded by crown land, public land, basically. So just in the middle of a forest, I can see the Rockies from my house.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
But the campground that we go to regularly is called Greg Lake, and that's only 15 minutes away from my house.
Okay.
So, but it is, of course, in the middle of nowhere. When you go on the lake, this lake, I think, has 4 or 5 private grandfathered in cabins, but everything else is public land. And it's a thing of beauty. It really is. Provincial
That sounds
park.
Awesome. Now I want to go visit Teras, Craig. That sounds wonderful.
Well, you got to come up.
I know.
It seems you can smell like moose also.
Yeah, I'm going camping this weekend actually for Memorial Day. So I'll be in northern New Hampshire, which is not quite as remote as northern Canada, but it's pretty remote. You know, we have our own mountains and our rivers and our lakes and the occasional moose also. So keeps us.
You know, I do smell terrible now, but I will smell even worse in about 6 weeks or so. I'm actually going to Cambridge Bay, Nunavut.
Oh,
so it's
you're not going to look until then.
Well, no, I will bathe, but when we get there, you have to smell like the bugs and the woods, or else you'll be eaten alive. So, but from the mosquitoes and black flies. So, I'm headed to when you say northern Canada, look at Cambridge Bay. Cambridge Bay is.
I'm going to Google Maps.
Okay, so Cambridge Bay, where I live now. And if I fly to Huachuco, Mexico, Huachuco, Mexico is the bottom almost of Mexico by Guatemala.
Right.
If I fly that far south, that's how far north I'll be flying from where I live now.
And now, why are you going out that way?
Okay.
I have a friend that lives in Cambridge Bay that he's going to be moving back to Canada.
That sounds like you got to cross water to get there.
Yeah.
What? I didn't know there was like land beyond the water up north of Canada that was Canadian. That's how ignorant I am.
Cambridge Bay.
Oh my, Craig, you got to look at this. It's like past. You're in the North Pole there, dude.
Yes.
Polar bears up there and whatnot.
There are polar bears. Yes, there are polar bears where we're going. Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
Holy cow. Yeah. So that seems like quite the adventure. Now, you go up there often, or is this just sort of a?
No, this is the first time.
I want to hear about this. This sounds extreme. I feel like you're going to be up there in the middle of nowhere, freezing cold.
I don't even think
survival guy's going to be there from the Discovery Channel. Going, okay, Mr. Teras, here's what you do.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
you're going to visit Santa?
Yes,
right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How?
Yeah. And I don't think Santa has Tim Hortons, like I said. So I think it's
You better beef up on your donuts before you leave here. That's
right. I will. Yeah.
So now I hope, Teras, that you've managed to see a movie or two before you're heading that far north. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. I have seen several in the last little while.
Now, have you seen Infinity War yet?
I have.
Ooh, now have you seen it? I've seen it twice. Craig, how many times have you seen it?
I have seen it twice.
Teras?
Oh, yes, only the once.
Oh, see, so we're going to talk about Infinity War here. So spoiler alert, because we're just going to talk about it. Yeah. So do not listen, because seriously, this is not a movie you want spoiled. I think they did a good job with fake trailers.
They did
to distract you from. There are scenes and I love that they did this, because I love that there are scenes in the trailers that simply never happened in the movie, which is great because it totally throws you off for what you might expect. I try to avoid the trailers anyway, but I really. So, what do you guys think? So, Teras, what was your expectations going into Infinity War? What were you thinking?
Well, I think Marvel also did a good job of saying, don't tell your friends, don't spoil it for your friends. I think they really went out there and said, hush, hush, everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think is important. I think it's important. It is a movie that it's best watched without being spoiled. So if you are listening to this, seriously, shut it off and come listen to it later.
Right.
But make sure you come back and listen to it later.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm sorry, what was the question?
What was your expectation going in?
Oh, my expectation, you know what? My daughter and I were both very nervous because we expected one character to die. And maybe
Who did you expect to die?
We expected Captain America.
Everybody expected Captain America.
Really? I thought everybody expected Iron Man to die.
No, well, because... Well, go ahead, Teras.
I think Iron Man has to live with the guilt.
Yes. Well, but why why did you and your daughter expect Captain America to die?
A lot of reasons. I think he's the most he's the most noble of them, I think. And I think that if they would have taken the most noble away, I think they would have made quite a statement about a lot of things, maybe politically. I don't think we should get into that, but I think they would have made a statement, and I think that Captain America is being the most noble would have been the most painful. I think.
I expected him to die because he died in Civil War, the comic books.
Oh yeah.
So I just sort of thought it would segue into it. But I thought it was cool they didn't go there and just kind of changed who lived and who died. But I thought it was. Go ahead, Greg.
Do you honestly feel like any sense of relief knowing that in less than a year there's going to be the second half of this story?
What do you mean, relief?
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think
there will be death by the end of this.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody that didn't die will die.
Everybody?
Yeah.
So every original, I almost said X-Men because I went and saw Deadpool today. But anyway, every original Avenger you think is going to die? Really?
I think well, Tony had the vision of when Thanos is kind of standing there and everybody's dead except him.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that what is going to happen. I think that we'll find out that Doctor Strange saved the universe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we shouldn't probably jump to the end, but yes, I think that Doctor Strange did do some cool stuff. But I think I do think more people are going to die in the second episode. But I'm not sure as many people are dead as everybody thinks are dead.
I think none of the people that are dead currently are dead.
Yes. Well, I think Loki's dead. So let's go into it a little bit.
Dead?
Because I think... Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just asking, you think Loki's dead?
Well, so here's my theory. Let's just go right to theories, because we could talk all day about this, and we probably will. But I first of all, just for the record, I absolutely love this movie. My favorite part about it was how... you know how a lot of people talked about how Rogue One made the original trilogy even better, even though the original trilogy was already great, because just like setting up the intro to New Hope, like you're on the edge of your seat, even though you knew it was going to happen. So like this had a similar effect where couple things about this movie I really love. First, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. And second, it made me love Ragnarok even more.
Yeah.
Because when I first watched Ragnarok, I was a little bummed out that it felt like someone was like, you know what, Guardians of the Galaxy was so much fun. We're going to make Thor like Guardians of the Galaxy. So when I first saw Ragnarok, I was like, oh, really? They kind of made it. But then what I realized is that because Thor has to hang out with Guardians of the Galaxy in air quotes, because I loved it, in Infinity War, by setting Ragnarok up to be a little more Guardians-like, he fit right in.
Right.
Yeah.
So they actually did a great transition there. And then he jumped, and of course it was a literal transition because literally the last, minute, Infinity War picks up at the last, moments after Ragnarok ends. So it's really the direct sequel to Ragnarok. And it just is beautifully done. So that all fits together. It makes the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe come together in a way that was awesome too, because it brings all those great storylines together. But to your point, Teras, I think that everybody who was, when Thanos did his thing, everybody who sort of faded away, I don't think they're really dead. I think they're in an alternate place. They're either in the Soul Stone or the Soul Universe, what do they call it, or some other plane of existence. And I think the next movie is going to be about going back and forth between the two planes. Partly it'll be in wherever the alternate plane is, partly it'll be in our world. And then what I think might be able to happen is if Thor can create the Bifrost, maybe Thor can go back and forth between the two planes and help people on both sides.
And
this is just a random Russ theory. I have no idea if this is true.
And that's why you think they made a specific point of saying that the new weapon can make the bridge.
Yes, well, he also made the bridge. But yes,
there's another theory that they're going to use the Ant-Man's suit and the Wasp's suit to remember.
Oh, could be.
If they fall through the whatever the plane, the tiny plane where you've slipped between the molecules, you can actually go back and forth in time, was another theory.
Yeah.
What about this? Because this is something I came up with, and everybody I've mentioned it so far has just shot it down without explaining why they shoot it down. Might it have split the universe in two, and everybody who died in one didn't die in the other one, So, like, there's now two universes with 50% of the people in each?
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, because my original theory was just they're in parallel universes now.
Yeah.
So from both people's perspectives, both people faded away, except that wouldn't really work because
knew they were fading away.
Yeah, the faders knew they were fading away. So I don't know. And there's helicopters crashing in our world, and stuff, because we saw that in the end after the credits. But it could be. I mean, I think anything like that's right. I think is going to be close to what happened, because I think that was a movie of all the characters in it. Still, go ahead, Teras.
I think that Doctor Strange went through all the possible.
He did. Yeah. Yep.
He found the one where everything gets fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why he says he apologizes because he knows that the original Avengers and Tony's friends have to die.
Right.
And I think that Ant-Man and Wasp will find out that there's something wrong. That will shrink down in space and time and see something wrong with the space-time continuum. And Doctor Strange messed with his space-time continuum on a small with his amulet, messed with the space-time continuum, and it'll be a reset. It'll be a reset.
See, I hope it's not a reset, because I feel like that's been so done, though. I feel like it would be cheap. I'd rather see them all in separate universes and they somehow get back together, because I'm hoping it's not just a classic Star Trek rewind time situation.
I would agree with you, but there's just not enough time for that to happen between now and the next movie.
No, but they can do it in the next movie. So I think what's going to happen in the next movie, they'll be in their separate universes. And so just like in this movie, half of it was following Thor and the Guardians and half of it was following Iron Man and Spider-Man. In the next movie, half of it will be the people in one universe and half will be the other. It'll go back and forth. And then at the end, they'll somehow reconnect themselves. Like that's
I don't know. I think it would be more interesting if they were going to do that. I would think that then why wouldn't they take it and move that next movie 5 years from now? in real time.
Why do you need to do that though? You could still just do that and then.
Because I think it would be more interesting because you could give Black Panther to his sister. You could have a movie with her as Black Panther. You could have a movie with
Oh.
You know what? You could have a whole bunch of different movies that are this universe and then say
and then bring them back together. And then but now there's female Black Panther and regular Black Panther. I see what you're saying.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do. Well, they might because isn't there also like a gray vision?
I don't think she's going to be female Black Panther. I think she's going to be the new Iron Man, and I think they're going to call it Iron Person. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about that last bit.
Not happening. But I think Gray Vision's coming back because he turned gray, so that's the thing.
What I've got another one that I thought my wife and my daughter both said I was stretching. So here's this one that Doctor Strange goes back and introduces the mutant gene, and that's how they get the X-Men into this universe. And so the next movie is actually the X-Men fighting against.
They would have to speed up this deal with Fox to be able to pull that.
They would.
And right now, that's not looking like a done deal. So.
Oh, really? I thought it was done.
No.
Oh, that's too sad. Okay. Well, then they better speed it up.
But here's the thing. This is why I think Loki's dead, though. So if my theory's right, then anyone killed air quotes by the Soul Stone could still be alive,
right?
Including what's her name there, because she was, even though she fell, she was technically killed by the Soul Stone, and it seems like her soul is in the Soul Stone because she's asking him.
She's not gone, because she's still
so she's still around. But Loki and anyone else killed by more traditional means is dead.
Dead.
Yeah, that's my theory.
Okay, so this is something that I texted to Russ as he was going in for his second viewing because one of my students brought it up, and I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it a third time so I can check on it. So you think Valkyrie is dead?
My daughter and I both believe we saw her floating in space.
Yeah. And you're not the only ones, because once I talked to you, I went online and it actually, she's not in anything else as far as IMDb goes. And her IMDb page actually had a note that said her armor or her likeness made an appearance in Infinity War, and then that got removed from her IMDb page.
Right.
So
I think she was in space,
which is unfortunate because I thought that was an awesome dynamic that they could really have done more with.
It doesn't mean, well, if somehow Loki does survive and he could pick her up out of space and maybe they could live somehow. Right. We don't know how as Guardians, work in these situations.
Yeah, I guess.
I absolutely do not think I don't believe anything with Loki.
Well, yes, it's hard to guess Loki.
He's the. I mean, he could come back as a woman next.
If anyone could trick, the problem is with Loki is he's just an awesome actor. I want him.
Yeah.
So don't bring Loki back if it's not that actor, because don't bother.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I also don't want them to do the Walking Dead thing where we're gonna kill a bunch of people, but they're gonna be very specially selected people that we know aren't going to damage the money value of our franchise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're going to be emotionally wrenching, but not the ones that, I mean,
I don't know. They killed a lot. Everybody, they killed a lot of people that people like. So
I think that's why I don't prescribe to the two universes, because I just think that I know that they could pull back both universes together, but I don't know. I don't know how it would be hard for them to function. You know what, though? I mean, two things that I've heard, or two things did not get resolved that I was surprised at. Mm-hmm. One, we didn't see Adam Strange.
Right.
And I
don't know.
I saw Adam Strange.
Who's Adam Strange?
What's that?
Who is Adam Strange?
Warlord. He actually had the Soul Stone in his forehead back in the day. And he actually was... remember at the end of the Guardians last one, they had this kind of big spore type thing that they were saying we have a new weapon or whatever. Warlord is inside there. Adam Strange. inside there. So that wasn't resolved, and he has a lot to do with the Infinity Stones. Like he actually has command of one.
That's because he's coming back.
And that's right.
In the next movie.
Yeah, he will come in the next movie. And we didn't see Stan Lee as a watcher as Uatu, and I expect that to happen too in the next one too.
But he was the bus driver.
That was awesome.
So, but I think that Tony has to go through a lot of pain. I think that's because his comic book has him lamenting a lot, and this and Captain America's death in the comics really hit him hard, and I think that he has to go through that. So I don't think that she'll become Iron Man. I think that he has to have a bit of him on the bottle. Pretty
okay,
heavy.
so here's another theory for you. As far as reversing everything goes or whatever. So the Soul Stone is sentient, right? And can change the bearer in some way and affect the bearer. So what if the Soul Stone is like bringing more humanity to Thanos, and eventually there is a redo snap, but it's like, what if it's Gamora gets the gauntlet and he ultimately decides not to stop her? Would that upset you still, Russ? Does that fit into like something that goes along with the characters and their stories?
No rewinding time.
So it is
I would be very sad because
it would undo. They would like. Well, I guess it would be.
It's rewinding time. I don't want it. Don't rewind anything because that's cheap. It's a cheap plot device. Everybody's done it a million times.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't see how they couldn't do it without it. But you're right. I guess they could do
everybody's going to expect the rewinding time thing. I don't think people will expect.
Then how does it work, Russ? Without rewinding time,
here's how it works. There's two universes, right?
Yeah.
Think of it like go to D&D mode. So work with me here. You're in Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. Some wizard somewhere snaps his finger, and half of your party and half of people on the continent are teleported to the astral plane, for example. So you're not dead. You're just floating around the astral plane. Meanwhile, the other half of you are down in the prime material plane. And for a movie, for 2 hours, you guys trying to figure out how to get to the magic box somewhere, that if you can connect magic box 1 on the prime material plane, and if someone else can push the button at the exact same time on the astral plane, you will create a portal that allows everybody in the astral plane to come back to the prime material plane, right? So that could be the plot and you could, if some wizard somewhere had a device that allowed him to say, I don't know, create a magic bridge to go between any universe, which the Bifrost does, Thor could bounce between the two, helping both sides while they figure it out. So then you have a movie that cut back and forth between all your favorite heroes in 2 different universes, trying to figure out. But meanwhile, what's going to be happening is the ones in the current universe, the prime material plane, will be dealing with all the problems and the heartache and the whatever else is going on. And meanwhile, the ones in the astral plane know they're stuck somewhere and are trying to get out. And then I like your guys' idea that maybe somehow Wasp and Ant-Man figure out there's something wrong while they're on the prime material plane, and tell everybody in the prime material plane, hey, we got a problem, and try to get them doing something there to reconnect the astral plane so they can get back. Like that's how in my crazy head this whole thing works, because no one's really dead except for Loki, and anybody else killed not going through Gamora
was at the bottom of that cliff, all mashed up. But you don't think she's dead?
Who?
Gamora.
Well, Gamora was killed by this. Her soul was taken for the Soul Stone, though.
Right. Because her body was dead.
Yes. So that's a problem. But that's the kind of thing that someone with a gauntlet. Like, here's your theory there. So the guy with the gauntlet who misses her, he's got the Reality Stone, the Soul Stone, the everything else stone. He could bring Gamora back.
Mm-hmm.
Except Adam Strange. I think Adam Strange did, and Gamora were together. I wonder.
The Gamora one's tricky. I don't know how, and you have to have Gamora back because she's the next Guardians movie. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
The next Guardians movie is a prequel to Infinity Wars.
Oh, so that's fine.
Explains how.
So she could be dead
together.
So she and Loki could be dead, in my theory.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, she's actually Adam Strange's lover, actually, in Warlord. I think.
The problem is now Star-Lord likes her, so that's not going to work.
Well, they're because of whatever happens in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Right.
But I think he was actually met her inside the Soul Stone.
Oh.
Mm.
Well, that's
See, so there you go.
Maybe here you go. Here you go. There, Russ, listen.
Okay, I'm with you.
Maybe everybody's inside the Soul Stone.
I've heard that theory, and that one works too. So everybody could be in the Soul Stone, including Gamora right there, or Gamora, sorry. And they're trying to get out of the Soul Stone, which is sort of a variant on what I'm talking about, because they're stuck in another world, right? And they're trying to get out of it. And meanwhile, maybe the rest of the heroes are going to chase down Thanos because they figured out where he is, and if they get him to use the gauntlet, they can free everybody from the Soul Stone. I don't know, but that works too.
Right.
That's not rewinding time, so I'm cool with that one. So if your theory's correct, Teras, I'm on board. As long as it's not like someone somewhere snaps their figures, time rewinds, and is like, oh, that whole first movie never happened.
But theoretically, you can do that with the gauntlet.
You could, but it's still lame because it's like, hey, that whole movie you just watched didn't matter.
Okay, he's up. He's up, Deadpool. Everything's going to be.
Just saying.
Also,
You're so
like
dark.
a plot device.
Are you sure not for the universe?
In the comics, Thanos loves death. Like, doesn't love the killing people. He loves the embodiment of death.
Right.
And we saw her in the movie. The little girl that looked like Gamora.
Yes.
And he was talking about that's death. That's actually and so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that. I think that's that's actually the Marvel embodiment of death. And so, death
Green
has
skin girl.
Yeah, I think that death has to spurn Thanos. She has to say, "I'm not interested in you."
Huh.
Because he did in the comic books, he does this all.
Right, but didn't they spend a lot of time and effort giving him an alternative reason for doing it in the movies? I mean, I think one of the many things that Marvel Studios does right is they take these wacky things that you guys are all okay with that happen in comic books, so that an audience of 100,000 guys are like, yeah, that's awesome, but that would never fly with the millions of people you need to buy movie tickets. And they find a thread that pleases you, but also engages all those millions of people.
Yeah, that may well be true, but well, watch it next time. I'm going to watch it again. And I'm going to see if I think that she's still.
Apparently, my Tuesday just freed up. Maybe I'll go see it again tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah. So she's. It's interesting. I think he doesn't really explain it that well. Why his motivations are to call everybody.
Like a 10-minute exposition speech on Titan, where he explains what happened to Titan and nobody believed him, and now it's happening to the rest of the universe and nobody believes him, and he's going to fix it anyway, and eventually everybody will see his way of seeing things, and he will sit on a hillside and watch a sunset and in front of an adoring galaxy that will appreciate what he did.
Yep. Pretty much happened right like that. Right then.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct.
I mean, I get the death thing, and I think in a comic book the death thing is cool because I think you can have a deeper and slightly wackier reality that you've created. But I think this would be sort of late days to add in the personification of death into this whole, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think they've spent a lot of time and effort explaining why he wanted to do this. For that to end up as a red herring and do a bait and switch with
you're right.
Of death, which isn't to say they didn't, because I mean they totally threw me for a loop with the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I bought it and I loved it and I'll never go back. But so I think that is a possibility. But I think that I think the evidence we have right now is that they put a lot of effort into making an alternative reason that he wanted to do this. Because if you look at this movie, he's the hero of this movie, right? He's if you look at it from his perspective, his point of view, it begins with him and it ends with him.
He's the typical mass murderer that thinks that he's doing the right thing.
But the structure of the movie is also that he's the main character.
Right. It's like Star Wars about Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's the pivotal character in the first scene and the only character in the last scene. And the whole thing pivots around him, and you're seeing his motivation, and you're seeing him in every one of these pivotal moments. He's either there or he was there, and that's what caused that moment to
He's
occur.
the character that has a journey. Everybody else is no.
That's exactly his.
Thor has a journey also.
His
I would say.
quest.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask you this. Okay, so let's just say everybody's in the Soul Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's
Okay.
just,
Sure.
Let's just say everybody's in the Soul Stone.
Partying.
Partying.
Yeah.
Trying to get out.
Right.
Right. Okay. So
yeah.
Right.
when I'm going to say when and where do they come back out of the Soul Stone?
Well, that depends on what.
Because you got to remember, you got to remember the Infinity Stones and Strange's gauntlet or amulet can alter space and
Right.
time.
They can come out anywhere technically.
Right. And
So if they're in the Soul, if they're
to
in
the
the
Soul Realm, which is like its own universe or its own.
See,
Its own.
this is where we're going, Craig. This is the thing.
Okay. So hang on. Here's my question to Russ again.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in the Soul Stone,
Right,
and they come back at the end battle against Galactus, wrong villain. If they come back in the end villain against that, the end battle against Thanos,
yes.
Would you be okay with that?
So you're saying like
time?
if they can break out of the Soul Stone,
Right.
and when they do, they can also pick the time slightly. So
That's right.
Well, they could break out right at the moment they were killed. So what could happen is they could break out right at the moment he put them in, which would mean they'd come out as he's got the axe in his chest and they could kill him. So that's not really rewinding time though. If the guys who were sucked in could kind of are breaking back out. Like I just don't want, as long as someone's timeline is continuous, right?
Oh.
So it's kind of like a Doctor Who episode.
Okay, go ahead, Teras.
Here's another one that I thought of earlier. What if? Okay, so remember Thanos is on his throne. Wait, I forget what movie. He's on his throne. He's looking down. Somebody comes to Ronan comes up to bug him.
That's the end of the first Avengers.
Right. Okay. So
Right.
what if Strange makes a gate back in time to that point, and all the Avengers that are alive have to attack Thanos? Went back in time before he gets the Soul
That
Stone,
undoes the whole thing.
and then does the whole thing.
Right, because that's an excellent point, Teras.
The problem with that is Doctor Strange is in the Soul Stone.
Or wherever he is.
Oh no! He made it already. He fixed time before he died. He fixed. So that's it. He makes the gate. Wasp and Ant-Man find the gate. The gate takes the rest of the Avengers back in time. They
Isn't Wasp and Ant-Man a prequel?
To their
Yes,
deaths.
it's a prequel.
No. Is it a prequel?
The movie it takes place before the snap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean. But that means that by the end of that movie, or between that movie and the next Avengers movie, they are going. I believe they're all going to be brought in. But here's another question.
Okay, so then they go back in time and fix it, and they all die, trying to kill Thanos, but fix the timeline.
I still like the universes better. Sorry.
Okay, but wait, but there's another huge conspiracy theory, Russ. That scene that you keep referring to from the trailer that wasn't in the movie with the Hulk in Hulk form and everybody charging forward in Wakanda.
Right.
That's actually from next year's movie, because something went back and changed the timeline, and they have a redo with their battle with Thanos. That's
right. I think there's going to be a redo of the battle.
Something caused that them to get a chance to do a redo. Is
right.
Yeah.
I honestly
think theory,
that be,
and that's but they have to date, to the best of my knowledge, they haven't had any major shots that were done just to throw you off. They did things like
so let me ask you all this then.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with Captain Marvel?
Yeah, why is she going to be the one going to save the day? That's what,
because her movie also is. But here's the thing:
her movie is a prequel by like 25 years.
If you Google, so Teras, how old do you know Captain Marvel?
Pretty good.
So Captain Marvel, if you remember, in addition to he or she, because they've both been both, in addition to he or she, being essentially Superman, they also have, what do they call it? Cosmic awareness, right?
Right.
So Captain Marvel has full awareness of the universe and the many different
She
realities.
probably didn't need to get a beeper message.
But she could also be the one that figures out something's wrong with space and time, and that there's another universe that was just created, and I don't remember if they can travel between universes, but if she and Thor, like, she could be the one that goes to Thor and says, "Hey, buddy, turn the Bifrost on. We got to go to this weird place and save everybody."
Where is she through the entire MCU development?
Well, she's got to have a prequel. Her movie's a prequel also.
No, I know that, but where could she have? Like, if you have a Superman level character in the MCU,
yeah.
But we now have 10 years of MCU development. Like,
no, but she could be doing her origin story now. Like, they could do her origin story as a prequel right now that happens like months before this.
No, it actually,
and then she could be a primary character in the second movie.
It's a 25-year prequel.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll explain it. Maybe she's stuck in ice. She pulled a Bucky.
Maybe she's stuck in ice.
Happens all the time to the best of us. You're minding your own business. All of a sudden, a supervillain with a skull in his head throws you an ice cube, and you're offline for a century or two. I hate when that happens.
No.
Okay, so
but then the supervillain ends up as the guardian of a soul stone.
That's right. Now, is he going to be a major character, or is he done, you think?
No, that was just a cameo.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Well, that's unfortunate they couldn't have gotten Hugo Weaving to do it if it's just...
That was the Red Skull Teras showing up as the guardian of the soul stone. Right.
Right.
And it was not the original.
No, it was a slightly distorted Red Skull.
Yeah. Well, he's...
Hang on a second. I got to ask you a quick question here. That Thor dies in Infinity Wars, though, doesn't he?
No, Thor's alive. Yeah.
No, all the originals survived the snap.
Oh, right.
Yes,
all the original.
Yep.
Right. Of course they, because they have to die when they fight Thanos.
That's the Teras theory. I don't think Thor's dying. I think Thor's here for a long time. Yeah. Plus, his axe is just too damn cool. You can't have an axe with a Groot arm on it and not be awesome.
Ugly as sin.
Oh, don't even. No. You just be quiet now. The axe is awesome.
I was not happy with that axe.
Oh, then I don't even know who you are anymore.
No,
that axe is awesome.
No, I mean, I loved the 14-foot tall dwarf that made it.
Yes, Tyrion Lannister as a giant dwarf. Awesome.
That kicked ass.
Come on, the axe is amazing. It has a Groot arm. Come on, that axe was awesome.
Now I get that axe. I get the symbolism of the axe.
Yes.
Oh, there's another thing. How come the Groot arm didn't disappear when Groot did?
Because it was not attached to his body. Come on. Did anybody's gear disappear that they weren't holding?
Well, we don't know. Right. I guess probably.
Well, no, we do know, because if you watch to the end of the credits, you will see Fury drop his communicator and it doesn't disappear.
Keeper stays.
So any gear you're not holding stays.
Yep. Now here's have either of you seen the tweets from the director when he was asked what Groot's last "I am Groot" meant?
Oh crap!
It means it. All he's saying is "Daddy."
What? That's just BS.
He's reaching out to Raccoon.
Rocket?
Not Daddy. Dad.
Dad? You mean Rabbit?
Rabbit.
Full power, Rabbit. I love that movie. There are so many good lines. Teras, you got to see it at least 2 more times. I want to see it one more time because I want to. So many lines in this movie. Oh my god! But we got to go. The Dunkin' Donuts guy is giving us the evil eye. Any final thoughts on this thing?
Lights on us this time.
No, there's no. Kudos to Marvel. Yeah. There's not one that I dislike. I am super pumped for. I haven't seen Deadpool.
It's good.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So good. There's only 2 post-credit scenes. I heard there was 5, so I stayed till the bitter end. You don't have to do that. You can walk out. The music is cool. It's all music from the movie, obviously. So you've already heard it in the movie, but it is cool to hear it just on its own. Because there's a rap song that's based on the movie, and then there's an operatic song that's based on the movie.
Oh my god! Could they have a Deadpool operatic song?
Yeah, it's actually based on the bad guy. I'm not going to reveal because.
What do you think of, or do you know that they have the acoustic version of the Deadpool song in the old movie? You have to listen. It's excellent.
Yeah, no,
excellent.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It's deeper than you would expect. It's more personal than you would expect, and at the same time, I was just laughing out loud and or saying Jesus over and over again through the whole thing. I mean, they do with the R rating what frickin' Logan never did in a million years. So
yeah. All right, good. I'm looking for that one, but I'm also, I got to say, I'm very much looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
I loved that first movie.
Yeah,
loved
me
it
too.
Yeah, me too.
So
That'll be good.
Kudos to Marvel.
Yeah, Ant-Man was the first really good, funny one. That predated Guardians in a good way. So good stuff.
It predated Guardians 1.
Ant-Man did, yeah. Excellent. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you again for one of viewing Teras. It was great catching up with you here in Dunkin' Donuts, and we'll see you in about a week here on the main show.
That sounds exciting. Looking forward to it.
Bye.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.